Begin with you are leading this ministry for the last 2 years, which is going to be
Almost.
completed in December.
Yes.
So, what were the challenges you faced, and what were the milestones you want to outline for that?
Well, you all know what situation was about 2 years ago, civil aviation sector. Air India was in deep trouble. They
Yes.
hadn't paid the employees for 6 months to a year. There were two strikes per year at least, and at the wrong time. There was hardly any dialogue between the management and the employees. And of course, it still is a very high cost environment. And three international airlines, if you look at Kingfisher and Jet and Air India, they're all in financial problems. Kingfisher, of course, closed down. Air India is in the process of being bailed out. And so therefore, and if you look today, three international airlines, Jet-Etihad, Etihad gives Jet a lot of reach, and the again Singapore, Tata Singapore is one of the best airlines, and Air India is also on the way to recovery. So the whole scenario is changed as far as these international airlines go. And of course, everybody knows that civil aviation in India has a bright future. That everyone knows, and that's why they are all coming. No other reason. If just one looks at today's environment, nobody would want to invest here. But that plus the MRO also, now a lot of private players are coming. Tata is also entering MRO business. That Nagpur Air India Boeing MRO, that is almost ready now. So MRO business should also go. But the biggest change that I think has happened is that, see, in India we have a mindset, and in many parts of India it's still there. You forget the metros, you forget few governments here and there, even the governments that civil aviation for the rich. Now that mindset is changing. About 2 months ago, we had called all the state civil aviation ministers and secretaries, and finally they are beginning to recognize that it's a engine of growth, airport. For economic growth, in fact, it's a very vital sector. So now the ATF taxes, slowly states are looking at that, and maybe in another 6 months to a year they will start cutting those taxes. So the whole environment, from being in a hopeless situation, today the environment is that, yes, things are
Getting into the
getting
recovery.
better.
Okay.
Yeah. No,
So,
no tea?
no.
Okay.
The aviation industry has faced lots of challenging period in the last 1 year. So can we see it in the revival mode? Like new airlines are coming, types are coming. So where it stands and where it will stand?
Well, first, see, also remember there was such an explosive growth in this area in last 10 years that all the rules, regulations, authorities that we made many years ago are not relevant today. Like now, DGCA we are trying to replace with Civil Aviation Authority. That bill is before the Parliament now.
Yes.
We have abolished the Plane Acquisition Committee. Also, earlier when I became minister, we were not giving flying rights to private Indian carriers, even going to the Gulf. Air India, we had to give permission for them to fly. If I give you just one example, in Dubai, they were using almost 45,000, more than 45,000, and Indian carriers were using less than 20,000.
Yes.
Now Indian carriers are at par with the Emirates. So a lot of that financial health which you see little bit improving is because they make money on these Gulf routes and nearby foreign destinations. And earlier we were not allowing that, so we made a policy that yes, we take into account Air India's plans and capacity and give them priority, but we'll allow others also to fly. So that was a big change.
Yes.
Now we are going to remove that 5 years and 20 airplane requirement also. The complaint people have that hubs are there in Dubai and now Abu Dhabi and Qatar. Well, if you look back 4 or 5 years ago, where were there was Delhi airport, Mumbai airport, they are all in bad shape.
Yes.
How could hub be developed? Plus, the Indian carriers don't have the capacity. Even today, they don't have the capacity. But now that we have 4 airports already, Hyderabad, Delhi, Bombay, Bangalore, plus Kolkata, plus Chennai, they are all world-class airports. And again, Varanasi, Lucknow, in Odisha, Jharkhand, Ranchi, we are making these new airports. Nagpur is one.
Yes.
And anybody, any flyer from here, if you offer them direct flight to anywhere in the world, why would they go to Dubai or Abu Dhabi and any other place? But up to now, there was no choice.
Yes.
See, today, if you want to go to Latin America, there is no flight from India. South Africa, I don't think Jet has even closed down what they had. No flight there. Australia, we have just started. The whole of that Russia and that Central Asia area, we have no flights. So those people who complain why you are giving rights and all that, how would the passengers go?
Yes.
So, but now with Air India, they are getting Dreamliner. They are doing very well. They are adding new cities every month. I think this month they should start Rome and Milan and then Moscow. And I think they'll add. They are adding, trying to add Osaka in Japan. Plus, we expect Singapore Tata. If we change that rule, we expect them to start international operations soon. Plus, we also know, and they also know that 100 million won't do that. They'll have to bring in a lot more money. So that investment has to come.
So, how do you see these investments from Jet or Tata or from Air Asia? Will it improve or what change it will get into
Well,
this?
naturally, see, those days when the foreign money, Indian money, I think that line is no longer there. If you look at Indian entrepreneurs, Tatas and Ambanis and so many others, they are investing a lot more money outside. See, if it creates infrastructure, if it creates jobs, it doesn't matter money where it comes from. Now and nowadays, money comes and goes very fast also. So that's not an issue. So more money, we need more money to make 50 new airports, which we have plans for. I don't think Indian investors can put that kind of money there. And even Air India, see, when we talked about privatizing it, the point is the money that Indian government is putting in that can be better utilized for education, for creating roads, for healthcare. If private money is willing to come into that, why should government put money there? So investment, I think, will come for MRO. A lot of investment will come, and a lot more planes will be in next. Boeing and Airbus both say that the biggest plane buyers would be China and India in next 10, 15 years.
Okay. And like there is no entry of A380 as of
Not
now, entry of coming this A380 in India, but now with Jet and Etihad deal, Etihad has this A380 as one of the biggest fleets of them. So can we see
so.
A380
That's
in
it's
India?
not the point that Jet-Etihad deal will affect it because the Lufthansa has those planes, Singapore has them,
But
airlines.
no,
So the
like this
issue is
investment
that
is
do we
coming.
have the infrastructure to handle it? See, those planes, I don't know exactly how many passengers they carry, but it has to be upwards of 500. Do we have, when they land here, the security environment, the ground handling environment? No other flight will be able to do anything at that point in time. So that's what we have to look at basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what the
Plus,
same?
with many countries, our agreement is flights per week.
Hmm.
So with one flight, they can triple their number of seats. So we have to look at all those agreements also.
And what about the AI privatization you talked about and which direction India?
Indian Airlines.
Yes.
See, this government has only about less than 6 months to go now, about 6 months. I have floated an idea,
Yes.
and very positive response is there. See, when I became a minister, that when we cleared that turnaround plan in the cabinet, when we discussed it, there was a view that maybe we should privatize it.
Yeah.
But then there was a consensus that in today's environment, that day's environment, no private investor will come forward. But now, as I said, the whole civil aviation scene has changed a little bit. Air India has changed quite a lot.
Yes.
So I think we should, and see, once first you have to get the evaluation done. And then, so it's a long haul, it will take a lot of time. And then, of course, some kind of political consensus has to be made. We can also think about like the engineering arm of the Air India. Now it's a subsidiary. Maybe if they completely become an independent company, then they can really bid aggressively for other airlines also, repair work.
So you are the custodian of Air India, and you have to set
No.
so many policies for the industry.
No,
So how
I'm
do
Minister
you?
for Civil Aviation, not for Air India.
But this is a part of this is
Yes.
national carrier,
Yes.
so this is the part. And you have to set so many policies. So how do you manage this reconcile of two conflicting things?
No, see, we look at the civil aviation should look at the passengers' convenience is number one priority. And then connectivity, of course, because we can't just say that only metros are connected and growth is there, so we forget those small towns or remote areas. So basically, that's the concern. So not that at the cost of that we allow Air India to grow. Air India to grow, first there is enough room for growth for all airlines here. Second thing is for Air India to grow, they will have to become competitive. Government, even if they give all this money, even this year they have not given all the money that was in the turnaround plan. They have not. They still are supposed to give 3,500 crores, and I don't think that's coming. So therefore, no more money from Air India. So employees have to understand that.
When you talked about connectivity, so what's the status of regional airports? What are the developments taking place there?
Basically, what we are thinking of is that smaller airports or regional remote airports, we cut the costs. First thing is no navigation charges, landing, takeoff costs, no security charges. Then we are going to ask states to have no real estate taxes, electricity taxes or water taxes, and then they should provide the security, at least the perimeter security. So if there is one flight a day to that airport, or two flights or three flights, we can't have a whole battalion of CISF sitting there. It will be too costly. And if the state's ATF taxes are already low for small planes. So with that, we talked to airlines, they said that should cut our cost by 10 to 12%. So that we want to make it commercially viable for airlines to fly. We don't want to select where you fly. We said these are the airports where you have the facilities, we'll give these facilities and let them decide on commercial basis. If that's not sufficient, we may also consider creating a fund and ask the state government to guarantee certain number of seats to begin with for 6 months or a year. It takes time to develop a market.
So any scope for investments like on the PPP model or something like that?
For airports, we already are in the process of 7 airports to be given for management in PPP mode. And we expect at least 2 of them should be done within next few months, Kochi, Chennai and Lucknow. But then beyond that, it's Jaipur, Ahmedabad, Guwahati. Total 7 we are working on right now.
And on the cargo sector, what are the developments and like?
Cargo sector worldwide also and in India also it's not growing really. For one thing, see, as the passenger number grows, we get these big planes. They have enough cargo space. In fact, I think majority of cargo worldwide is carried by the passenger planes. So and that sector is growing. I mean, we are getting more planes, so cargo capacity is increasing. But separate cargo carriers, that's not growing as the forecasts said.
And what about making them like hubs? Nagpur hub, then Hyderabad airport was to become pharma hub for cargo sector.
Hubs is already now Jet has Mumbai as their head office, then Air India has Delhi. Now Tata Singapore is coming. Let's see where they go. And Air Asia was talking about Chennai. And if you're talking about farmer hub, I think Indore is taking initiative on that
Okay.
to make that as for farmers.
And initially you talked about MROs, investments in this
About
MRO.
yes, yes.
So where do you see the potential of India becoming an MRO hub and
See, with the
investments
growth in
coming in?
civil aviation and the talent we have available, technical people and number of planes that would be here, but the environment was quite negative up to about a year ago. The taxes and problems in getting the parts and storing them all. Even now there are some hurdles, but we have removed a lot of hurdles, and we look at the other problems they have to make it financially viable.
And recently there were news about cyber attacks on the airports and it's about technology and
Well,
safety.
that's really it's not just the airports. That's the whole government or every private institutions also have to look at it.
So
So
can we expect any investments, in terms of infrastructure or technology for these things?
for
This attacks,
see,
safety,
no,
security.
we have been talking, and I think the agreement with U.S. about these things, security. We exchange information and everything,
Yes.
and that we will do with other countries also.
Yeah, I wrote
You
it.
see, this issue is bound to grow. The security issue is going to get more serious not only here, everywhere,
Yes.
and then costs are associated with that. Also, we have to find non-intrusive ways of checking because passengers don't like that
Yes.
to stand in line and take off shoes or have the body scanned and all that. So technology is also improving in that area.
And recently you had talked with the US for
Yeah.
investing in Indian aviation industry.
Basically, that was about cooperation in many fields. Security is one, training is another one, uh, how to monitor things, all kind of things. Yes,
So are you looking at other countries like Europe or somewhere?
I don't know. Well, we have this agreement with many countries, but USA is quite advanced in this technology-wise also in the civil aviation sector, and it's a huge market also.
And next, like you mentioned, India would be the third largest aviation in this market by 2020, and then there is big investment plan in the 12th five-year plan.
Yes,
So
yes.
where do we see the FDI flow?
See, that's what earlier I was talking. If we have to make those 50 airports, we'll need foreign investment. And even if the airlines here have to expand,
Yes.
uh, they have to get investment. As I mentioned, Tata Singapore's 100 million isn't going to go too far. So if they want to grow, they'll have to bring in more money. Uh, of course, I keep reading in newspapers that SpiceJet is talking to other people also.
Yes.
So let's see. Let's see.
Okay. Thank you.